So I think a lot of us saw this coming, did we not? You have Western civilization demonizing men and denying them opportunities just on the basis of them being men. But then you also say that there's this magical thing called gender. And although there's no real differences between men and women, there also definitely are differences, because now men can say that they're women or women can say that they're men. But my point is, we saw this coming. Here's the headline: male student changes his gender to get into competitive university program, which awards bonus points to women. Quote, as easy as switching mobile plans. And why not? Why not? Why not take advantage of this idiocy? This is from Blaze Media. It says a male student has played the gender ideology game and won, securing admission to a Norwegian university's prestigious Industrial Economics and Technology Management program, which administrators appeared loath to give to a man. It says the Norwegian University of Science and Technology in Trondheim noted various strategies to hit quotas for women, minorities, and non-straights among its employees, managers, and students in its Development Plan for Gender Equality and Diversity 2023 to 2025, citing an overrepresentation of one gender in several disciplines. Well, you can't have that. You can't have people just choosing what they want to do. People might get crazy ideas like men and women have different preferences, and in a free society, they'll make different choices. Here's a website, Life in Norway. Gender equality, how Norway measures up. Well, it appears to me that they're just as dumb, if not dumber, than the rest of Europe. It says Norway is considered to be one of the most gender-equal countries in the world. However, that doesn't mean equal, and challenges remain. Here's how Norway approaches gender equality. It says gender equality has an important part to play if a country or society is striving for true equilibrium. True equilibrium. But is that what we really should be striving for? It seems like to do that, you'd have to ignore preferences, people's preferences that actually exist. This is a real thing. Everybody, every sane person understands that, generally speaking, men and women are a little bit different. And they have different preferences. This doesn't mean all, it's just in the mean, in the average. It doesn't mean that no women want to be engineers. It just means that fewer will want to be. And in free societies, people will just naturally choose occupations that they're likely to find more fulfilling. It goes on. True gender equality would include level access to jobs, opportunities, and other resources for all recognized genders. Are we expected to believe that in Norway there are barriers to anybody, woman, gay, whatever, that there are barriers to opportunities or other resources for all recognized genders? No, that's ridiculous. And they're saying all recognized genders. And as long as we're there, don't forget frog gender. That's my favorite. I mean, this is all just completely delusional, isn't it? But in order to achieve this equilibrium of the sexes, a drive to remove prejudice towards women and other gender identities, again, don't forget the frog genders, they're the best, is still needed. While Norway is one of the better performers in this area, narrowing the disparity even further is still required. And spoiler alert, there is no end. Not in Canada, not in the US, not in the UK, not in Norway, not in Sweden. There's no end. It doesn't matter if women or gays or whoever are doing better in every single metric. It will never be enough. The job will never be done. Because if they admitted that it was done, well, what are all those feminists going to do? What are all those gender professors? What are all of the anti-this and anti-that's going to do? Well, they'll be out of work. So guess what? They're always going to find imaginary problems, and they're always going to pretend that they're real. And that brings us back to the hero of this story. Now, this university has been giving people who identify as female extra points in their application, giving them an advantage. And faced with an ostensibly rigged recruitment process, one male student who had failed to meet the merit-based standards decided he would help with the gender balance, identifying as a woman and taking extra points. The student told a Norwegian business newspaper that his gender transition took only 7 weeks and was, quote, about as easy as changing mobile plans, indicating that several other male students have followed suit and changed their legal gender. And I'll tell you what, it still is unbelievable to me that this stuff is real. This isn't fiction. This isn't satire. This is the real world. I believe they're trying to kill satire. Maybe that's what wokeness is all about. But anyway, it worked, and the student ultimately got into the school's esteemed program. And get this, the Norwegian publication Dagbladet indicated that of the 252 people offered a place to study this year, 67% or 170 were supposedly women. Well, wait a second, I thought they wanted equality. I thought they wanted equity. Then why is it 67%? Why were they aiming for that? Well, I guess it's like an animal farm. All animals are equal, but some animals are more equal. And this next paragraph here shows you the prison that they've made for themselves. They themselves must know how absurd all of this is, but they can't admit it because their ideological house of cards will collapse. When pressed on whether the school will take any measures to account for the gender ideology loophole in its admissions process, Monica Rolfson, dean of the university's Faculty of Economics, quote, "What kind of gender you choose to have is a private matter, which we have nothing to do with. We are keen to implement and further develop a study program that is popular and that trains managers." So what does that mean? What kind of gender you choose to have is a private matter, which we have nothing to do with. Essentially, that means, hot potato, we don't want to touch this. I mean, what else can they do? If they reject it, they're rejecting gender theory. And gender theory is sacred to the woke. It's basically the woke soul. It's something that's unfalsifiable and is simply a matter of faith. It has to be taken on faith. And here's a reason they might be hesitant about calling this guy out on his actually very funny plan. I mean, it is hilarious. It's hilarious because it's exposing absurdity. It's exposing the absurdity of this ideology. But anyway, it says last year, a Norwegian feminist with Women's Declaration International was investigated and faced more than 3 years in prison for suggesting a male who claimed to be a lesbian female was a man after all. That's how crazy things have gotten. And this is all part of the increasing dysfunction that is being forced on Western civilization by all of this weird postmodern lunacy. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. Sharing really helps me out. I thank you for that. I will see you next time.